Leeds United are in 16th place, a cautious system, a flat press, and a team that looks confused by its own plan at the minute. Daniel Farke was meant to stabilise Leeds United in the Premier League, but in my opinion, there's a sterilisation where Leeds United are predictable, obvious, and unfortunately, relatively easy to play against. So let's stop waiting for something to click and start asking who could fix this right now, because here are my 5 coaches out there who fit Leeds United absolutely perfectly. So guys, the numbers tell their own story, really. We were speaking yesterday about the PPDA, which obviously equalizes into a very passive press. We're speaking about Leeds' build-up, about our predictability. We spoke about the zones in which Leeds United occupy, which don't penetrate the opposition. We spoke about the last 5 matches of which were supposed to be one of the easiest in the Premier League. Now Leeds United statistically have got one of the hardest next 5 runs in the Premier League. Leeds picked up 1 win in those 5, and we've seen the same patterns, the same passive substitutions, the same passive tactical tweaks, and unfortunately, the same non-learnings from Daniel Farke, the lack of adaptability, and unfortunately, this has pushed me over the break to say we need a change. And productively and solution-based wise on this channel, we're now going to provide you with 5 managers who I think could take Leeds United to maybe a 16th or 17th place finish at the end of proceedings. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you don't want to see this sort of video, guys, really simple. Press that X button. I know a lot of you guys might want to entertain this. This is your opportunity right now in terms of keeping your thoughts on Daniel Farke remaining in the job, staying on that premise. That's absolutely fine. This video probably won't be for you. Don't leave comments in the section below abusing me for suggesting changes. Don't do that, and you will be banned from the channel pretty simply. Please engage. Please interact. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, everybody, and let's get into it. So for me, there are obviously 4 points that we need to completely change during a new managerial appointment. It's raising the pressing intensity from passive to front foot, accelerate transitions, more direct attacking sequences, empower individual creativity as well. You want your players to be able to get on the front foot and express themselves. You don't want to suppress these players and get them within a system of which doesn't enhance their productivity or their ceiling, really. And I want to re-energize the fan connection as well through emotion, risk-taking, and front foot football. They're the 4 points of which I want to really emphasize throughout this video as well. So the first one for me is going to be Cesc Fàbregas. I've got typed down here the visionary. Now, Cesc might seem like an outside shout, but his philosophy fits Leeds United much better than you think. At Como, he built a team that plays brave, central, possession-based football. He uses a 4-3-3 that can transform into a 3-2-5, keeping 5 lanes occupied and flooding the central corridor. Now, why does he affect Leeds? Midfield rotation. Leeds' midfield, Longstaff, Stack, and Padu Tanaka are multifunctional midfielders, in my opinion. Fabregas' constant rotation between the 6, the 8, and the 10 roles keeps them involved rather than restricted and just neutralized within games. The vertical progression is something that I've spoken about before. He values possession with a purpose, not just meaningless balls, you know, to your centre backs and to your number 6 and not doing anything. But I think this would feed the likes of Willian Yonto, or Okafor, Dan James, get the ball, go vertical and move quickly. He really emphasizes as well, Cesc Fàbregas, the fullback, use Bogle's 1.50 expected threat, makes him Leeds' most progressive outlet. Under Cesc Fàbregas, he'd become an overlapping playmaker, not just that defensive outlet. And again, the frontline balance, no Okafor, for me, would function a little bit, maybe like, I don't know, think of a profile like Gabriel Martinelli, potentially high, wide, and inside at the right moments. At the right moments, you're coming inside and supporting the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Metra, especially with that verticality. Next one is Carlos Corberán, the Bielsa graduate. Now, if there's one man who understands Leeds United, it is Carlos Corberán. He was Bielsa's right-hand man, built his philosophy at Huddersfield, did an unbelievable job there and at West Bromwich Albion, almost taking both to the Premier League from obscurity. Corberan's football is pragmatic, adaptable, and extremely intense. Everything Leeds have really lost from Bielsa. Tactical explanation here with Corberan is really interesting. It moves from a 3-4-2-1 into a 5-4-1 defensively. He doesn't just press blindly as well. He traps the opponents, especially down that right-hand flank. There's a compactness as well. Corberan uses the tight distances between the lines to absolutely suffocate the opposition build-up. Why does he fit Leeds? Well, Leeds' XGA is around about now. Expected goals against is 1.12, which is fine. But the problem is it's the consistency. Corberan's mid-block solves that by keeping the structure massively under pressure. And the transitional threat as well, Corberan will definitely enhance this with Leeds United. Okafor, Mecha, Aronson, DCL, James, Nonto, Leeds have runners at this moment in time, but I fear that there's not that much of a plan. And if there is a plan, it's predictable, very, very predictable. Corberan's wide overloads turn those into attacking triggers and become extremely unpredictable. Now, we've seen with Marcelo Bielsa that the fullbacks were hugely, hugely important. When you look at Alioski and Ayling for Leeds United, they are massively important as well with Carlos Corberan. And I have to say, Bogle and Goodmanson, with their capabilities under Carlos Corberan, would be a sight to behold. He is the closest thing to Bielsa Leeds can realistically get, but matured, measured, and tactically balanced with maybe a little bit more defensive nuance. If Farke represents control, Corberan for me brings purposeful chaos, exactly what Ellen Road feeds on. So another scene is Thiago Motta, the redemption project. Why does Motta fit Leeds United? Now, is this realistic? I'm not sure it is. He's out of work at this moment in time after the Juventus sacking, but at Bologna, he was so important and so impressive in what he did for the Italian side. The success at Bologna came from adaptability, a 4-2-3 morphing into a 3-4-3. He played a 4-3-3 before as well. Strong defensive base with fast vertical play. And obviously with this conversation, I don't want to discuss Juventus too much. I think Leeds are a little bit more like Bologna, who Motta got into an unbelievable phase of which, he took them into Europe, of which there were certain players of which he hugely improved. And you want Leeds to get to that phase as well where, we are the unexpected, but we are punching up as well. I think how Motta would improve Leeds is there would be clear defined roles, fewer sort of desperation fouls on transition that Leeds, I feel, at this moment in time are suffering, and better second ball control with the likes of Stack and Ampadu. He improves lower profile midfielders, Shooten, Ferguson, Locatelli, and this is all through tactical clarity, which I feel like some people are maybe missing when it comes to Daniel Farke. It's the roles, it's the pressing, it's the triggers. It's the tactical roles for these individual players, so the specificity for what they need to be, which we've had with Marcelo Bielsa previously. We've moved too far away from that right now. So it'd be interesting to see maybe Tanaka's development, maybe Stack's development, Longstaff's development under someone like Thiago Motta. But Leeds would need significant wage structure for this, and I really don't see it happening, to be honest with you. Number 4 is Knutsen, and this one's been bandied around for a while, but Bodo Glimt are doing so well, and he's done such an incredible job, and maybe the lure of a Premier League job would get him over there. I've always thought that he might be a link for Brentford, but I think Leeds United outside the relegation zone now could be able to acquire his services. So his philosophy fit is a vertical high-intensity 4-3-3. He does dominate possession, but that is for Bodo Glimt in their respective league, and there is a heavy reliance on wide overloads and inverted pressing wingers, which once again will help the strikers massively. Leeds do need aggression back. They need to be pressing high, suffocating mid-blocks, and quick vertical attacks. It's exactly Knutsen's DNA. I think the tactical picture with someone like Knutsen isn't that far away from what we're doing now, but there is little tweaks. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin leading the line, or Metcha, Nonto on one side, Okafor on the other. That is sort of his tactical blueprint as well when it comes to that 4-3-3. Wingers tuck in and the fullbacks provide that width. There's many examples as well within that Bodo Glimt side, which you might have seen in the Champions League as well. Everybody, the Solbakken, who is quite reminiscent and similar to that of Noah Okafor with the 1v1 dribbles. Berg, similar to Ampadu in that controlling pivot. And maybe Grombeek as well, who's probably a little bit like Longstaff in that late box runner. So there are similar profiles and maybe less of adaptability to someone like Knutsen. Leeds under Knutsen could rediscover that Bielsa-like intensity, but maybe with a little bit more of a modern balance. You look at Bodo Glimt's 2024 campaign as an example, 2.3 XG per game, 60% possession, high plus regains per match as well, 9 plus regains per match, which is a mass turnover rate. Once again, everybody, it feels like we're going down the theme of Marcelo Bielsa here, but the next one would be Inigo Perez. Bielsa-inspired high pressing, vertical transitions, but this time it is ordered chaos. High physical load in training, of which we've seen before with Marcelo Bielsa, direct passing, but pressing as playmaking as well, which is an interesting concept. And I do feel like Leeds fans miss chaos. They do miss it a little bit after Marcelo Bielsa. You had it a little bit with Marsh in a certain extent, but right now it feels very boring watching Leeds. It feels very tedious, and there's no output at the end of it as well, which is then making you think, oh, it's worth it. And interestingly as well, the expected threat data does show that Leeds' threat spikes during pressing phases. Leeds generate more per possession in the first 5 seconds after regain than in set possession as well, which is interesting in itself. So the high recoveries for Leeds United are massively advantageous, but there is no unified coordinated press at this moment in time, and that is exactly where Perez thrives. Tactical picture is a 4-2-2-2 pressing structure in attack. You know, you look at Okafor and potentially Willian Yonto as inside forwards, and Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Metcha as dual number 9s. The aggressive high line and compressed midfield shape could massively rejuvenate Ellen Road's intensity, energy, and definitely pick up points on the road as well. I feel like this is where, once again, Goodmanson and Bogle could thrive, because because Perez does really focus on those fullbacks, which effectively turn into wing backs. Stack and Longstaff, Perez does love to put emphasis on high runners as well. Could that be them in terms of maybe the box-to-box-ish sort of players? Harrison could even be Perez's chaos creator, which is what he emphasizes in that team, especially when it comes to the PPDA numbers. And that is exactly what Alvaro Garcia has been at Rayo Vallecano. So who knows? There could be a role for Harrison there as well. But once again, you look at your Inigo Perez, what was the similarity when Leeds were looking at managers ages ago? Leeds were in what, 19th position, and they went for Andoni Iraola at Rayo Vallecano, and he turned us down, or they blocked the move. Leeds were in 19th. Leeds then went for Arne Slot at Feyenoord in 19th position. Leeds have got the bargaining tool now, have been outside the relegation zone. So for getting managers of this quality, you've got to be able to approach them right now, not in 4 weeks' time. So whether it's Fabregas' control, Corberan's intelligence, Motta's balance, Knutsen's energy, or Perez's pressing, each of these coaches bring a clear tactical identity. But identity for me is what Leeds United lack most right now. And the 49ers now, the finger is pointed at you. Are you going to make the change, or are you going to be passive yet again, which you're showing is becoming a little bit of a characteristic blueprint in how you go about operation? This needs to be drastically changed up right now. The notion and the rumors behind the scenes is they're going to be sticking with Daniel Farke. I'd love to know what their plan is. Or is it just that Leeds United go back down to the Championship and we turn into maybe one of those yo-yo clubs who come back up again and try it again? Are they looking at the Ipswich model? I don't feel that they've been aggressive enough in their decision making, and the finger pointing from me is now going to be directed at you, Parag and co, because this is now the biggest problem. It's the indecisiveness, which is a massive, massive problem top down in an operation of which you should be absolutely ruthless. You look at any other Premier League club, they will be ruthless. What's your excuse? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Am I right? Am I way off it? Keep it respectful, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.